And interesting topics as well that are keeping people engaged here in southeastern Michigan and all throughout the state of Michigan during this COVID-19 pandemic. We're pleased to be joined now by the president and artistic director of the Detroit Jazz Festival Foundation, Chris Collins, back with us again on the show. Chris, thanks for being with us.
Tyler, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Good having you on. So we got the Detroit Jazz Festival that is scheduled for this weekend. Begins September 3rd, runs through September 6th. What can people expect at this year's edition of the Detroit Jazz Festival?
Well, first and foremost, a truly international lineup with great legends like Herbie Hancock, our artist in residence, Dee Dee Bridgewater, Monty Alexander, Gregory Porter, Kenny Garrett. It goes on, along with a host of our world-class Detroit jazz artists. It'll be 40 hours plus of live jazz programming from Detroit. We've built 4 custom sound stages in the Marriott complex. And we have television-level broadcasts, multi-camera shoots, the very best craftsmen in the city making it happen. As you may know, we had 1 million viewers last year in 32 countries, and we're looking to top that and make it something really special. From moment to moment, Friday the 3rd through Monday the 6th, there's going to be an exciting note being played every second of every day.
So you mentioned, Chris, that there will be broadcast elements of this year. It will be in some way. It will be televised once again. I know last year the entire thing was virtual because of COVID-19. It was a major production. We had you on just after the fact to talk about everything that went into the Jazz Festival, and it was really just an amazing story about experts and professionals in the community, as well as the musicians and the other artists coming together to continue this Detroit tradition. What can be expected this year? Is it going to be in person? Is it going to be virtual? A little bit of a hybrid situation? What's the case for this year's Jazz Festival?
Well, we have made the decision just a few weeks ago. We were scheduled for a total in-person jazz festival this year, but as you know, we draw over 300,000 people to the city of Detroit. And we had some logistic challenges. There's a renovation going on Hart Plaza that wasn't going to be finished to our standards. We need a certain safety standard and a certain, visual and audio optimal standard at all the stages and performance venues there. And while everyone worked very hard, and we're all looking forward to the renovation being done to its highest degree for next year, we just didn't see it coming together to the level it needed to be. So what that meant is we were left with half of our physical footprint. And you can imagine taking 300,000 plus people over 4 days and putting them to half the real estate. The first and foremost, it defeated our very carefully planned physical distancing protocols and our overflow areas for people and all of the things that help to keep the Detroit Jazz Festival safe in the face of the threat of the current pandemic, and we felt like we had it covered pretty well. But once we lost half of the footprint, there was no choice but to go all virtual again this year, all broadcast, in order to make sure that all the artists were protected, our citizenry and our community was safe. We did not want to poke the bear just to wedge the festival in. It was the right thing to do, and as you said, because we have such unique technical skills and incredible team, hundreds of folks that have done the broadcast element for us before, along with the very unique piece that we do not rely on tickets because we are a totally free jazz festival, the largest in the world for 42 years. We were able to make this pivot so we can deliver everything safely, but still free and still live from Detroit. So it's the decision we had to make, and we're really happy we did.
We're pleased to be joined by the president and artistic director of the Detroit Jazz Festival Foundation, Chris Collins, back with us again before this year's festival to talk about the upcoming festivities with the Detroit Jazz Festival, which is coming up this weekend, September 3rd through September 6th. It's an entirely virtual show, and you said that the decision to pivot to an entirely virtual show instead of having as many in-person elements as was originally planned for this year, that decision came about 3 weeks ago. What's gone into making that sudden change? Because from the outside looking in, 3 weeks can seem like it's plenty of time to make those adjustments and change things around and still get ready for the show. But when you're putting a show together, especially with the quantity of a program that goes into something like the Detroit Jazz Festival, 3 weeks is really not a whole lot of time, especially when you're shifting things around to make things work technically for a virtual show, including your 18 miles plus of fiber optic cable.
Fiber optics being run as we speak through the Marriott complex, but it's hundreds and hundreds of workmen in every possible craft: stagecraft, lighting craft, sound craft, the IT, metrics. We have a live metrics room where we track all the metrics of people around the world in the different venues. All of these things go into making it the very best it can be. As you may know, the Detroit Jazz Festival 2020 won awards and was lauded nationally for the quality of delivery of the performances. And I will say to your question, I mean, we had a couple of months last year. We made that decision a couple of months before, and it was tight. This year, as you said, it's only been a few weeks, but it was the last moment. Once I found out unexpectedly of this logistic challenge, I had to make a quick decision, because it was not a decision between we go in person and just kind of grit our teeth and squint our eyes and hope everybody's going to be okay. We don't operate that way. We have extensive safety protocols, evacuation protocols with all the safety services locally, at the state level, and at the national level. All these things have to be in place. So you can't just squint and turn your eyes and hope everything's going to be okay when you cram a bunch of people into a small space. Not tens of thousands of people. So it was a decision between going all broadcast or not having a festival, which would have been a travesty. So we made the decision we did just a few weeks ago. My production folks, my staffing and team, they are working 24/7 since I made that decision to satisfy that, and they are producing one of the highest quality live jazz shows you're ever going to see. And as I said, 40 hours plus over 4 days. This is, as Downbeat said last year, a historic accomplishment in jazz. We're very proud of it. And along the way, the ability for everyone to see and hear Herbie Hancock and Dee Dee and all the cats play. It's a pretty special accomplishment. I'm very, very proud, as always, of the craftsmen and the team and my staff that go into making it happen. It's nothing short of miraculous.
We're joined by Chris Collins. He is the artistic director and the president of the Detroit Jazz Festival Foundation, talking about the upcoming Detroit Jazz Festival, September 3rd through 6th of this coming month. And so, Chris, this is a really Herculean effort to put this together, just on a regular year when it's in person. But then on top of that, these last 2 years where we've had an entirely virtual show, just how many people are involved in piecing all of this together and making this a seamless and exceptional show for Detroit Jazz fans, and really fans all over the world. You had 1 million unique viewers from 32 different countries last year.
Yeah, to put an exact number is tough. I can tell you on site right now, we probably have, over 200 just crew members and workmen putting and building and building these huge sound stages with Hollywood lighting, and it's 4 camera shoots at the stage, and crane and jib cameras, all that stuff, along with the director's booth, the producer's booth, and all the sound systems. So that's just what's going on now. You add to that another several hundred artists that will be playing throughout the 4 days. And, we do have to be careful, because we are inside and we have some very specific COVID protocols. Last year, 3 weeks after the All Broadcast Festival ended, we did a survey, and I can tell you, I'm very proud to say we had not a single COVID case traced back to our virtual last year. So we are hoping to do the same this year and achieve that very, very important goal along the way.
What I like about your show and your lineup is that you're not only featuring well-established and acclaimed jazz musicians to attract people in, you're also bringing in a lot of up-and-coming artists as well. What went into that decision? Why have that kind of a mixed bag, especially when in a situation like this where you're not going to have people coming into the show, you're trying to get as many people as possible to view the festival?
Yeah, well, as any jazz aficionado will tell you, the up and coming artists, the new artists are very important because they show us new directions, new pathways, new interpretations of the language and the history and the vocabulary. And, I've had an open submission policy from January till about June every year where musicians from all over the world can send me their projects, whether I know them or not, on whatever level they're on. So I have a chance to check out all the cats. And of course, as a musician, I play with a lot of musicians. I travel around the world playing with different musicians, so I get to hear a lot of interesting things happening internationally. And I take all that together and not only look for those established artists with special programs and projects, but also those new and upcoming artists. And in fact, we even dip into the schools, although this year our education year-round programs have been, we've been carefully doing them in video content. So we don't have any high school or middle school students. It was a little too dicey given all the conflicting data about that. We do, however, have a collegiate all-star band where we went to all the universities and asked them for their very best and put together a big band to accompany Keon Harold on Monday at the festival that is made up of the hottest upcoming collegiate players in the Michigan area. And I'm here to tell you this band is really spectacular. And then we have things like the winner of our national collegiate combo competition, Elstop from New York University, will be playing. And these were projects to compensate for the fact that most universities had not been rehearsing and doing performances regularly or normally throughout the last year. So we knew there was a limitation there. So we put these special projects together to celebrate those young artists in a special way, but in a safe and appropriate way.
We're joined by Chris Collins. He is the president and the artistic director of the Detroit Jazz Festival Foundation. The festival coming up live streaming. It's a virtual show again this year, beginning on Friday, September 3rd, and running through Monday, September 6th, all through Labor Day weekend. Lots of great jazz, different artists, both up-and-comers, as Chris just talked about, as well as some more established artists as well. And Chris, this festival has been free of admission for 42 years. How does that happen? Because it is such a massive festival. It is such a big attraction. How does your organization continue to keep it free for Detroiters and those all over the world who come into Detroit year after year, who view the festivities online over the last couple of years? How does your organization keep this free of admission, not only in these past 42 years, but going forward as well?
Yeah, well, it's a great question. I mean, let me make this clear. The Detroit Jazz Festival Foundation is singular in all the world. We often forget in our own backyard how special some of these things are, but we are blessed to have, for 42 years, the largest free jazz festival and one of the premier, listed in the very top 1% of jazz festivals in the world. This is not anything, it's not a backyard barbecue. This is a multi-million-dollar world-class jazz event every single year. And we have to look to the people that allow that to be so. And that, the Detroit Jazz Festival Foundation is a public and nonprofit foundation. So we look to our sponsor, our corporate sponsors. So we have a presenting sponsor, Rocket Mortgage, along with JP Morgan Chase and Absopure and Carhartt and DTE Foundation and many others that step up year after year and stayed with us when we pivoted into the broadcast mode. And then we have the incredible independent donors. I mean, people can go right now to DetroitJazzFest.org. You hit donate. You can send in $1. You can send in $100. You can make a donation to our endowment, which protects your money forever. And it's with the money that spins out in interest gets used towards specific projects. Along with someone we call the Angel of Jazz, the great Ms. Gretchen Volade, who saved the Detroit Jazz Festival some 10, 15 years ago now, and continues every year to make sure that this is going to be here for us and our children and their children and so on. Because propagating something that is this big and this dependent on others and philanthropic giving can be a very fragile thing. And this is why I'm so careful about how and where we present it, that we don't put people in harm's way, and that we're always safe and healthy and for families and all that stuff, because these kind of things are fragile. They are not simple things that can be started up and moved around. They sit on a nice edge, and you have to treat them with respect, and you have to go out to people and say, if you want this level of art to happen and be freely available to everyone, as it should be, requires philanthropic support. So corporate sponsors, individual donors, our incredible Angel of Jazz, great Miss Gretchen Boulade, put it all together, and people are able to come for free, whether it's on the radio or online. The whole listing, by the way, is at DetroitJazzFest.org, all the places you can see this, or in a regular year, whether it's sitting up on stage, right in front of Herbie Hancock and hundreds of other artists for free. The only way that happens is through the graciousness and philanthropic giving of others. And it's something to behold. It's something to be respected. And when we can, it's something to show our love for to those companies and individuals who have made sure this can be available to all of us. Nothing short of miraculous.
We're joined by Detroit Jazz Festival Foundation President and Artistic Director Chris Collins. If you do want to donate and support the Detroit Jazz Festival and as Chris said, continue to help provide these free musical programs to the public for years to come, you can donate and find more information at DetroitJazzFest.com. And you can also catch the entire program, which begins at 6:10 p.m. on Friday, September 3rd, and runs all the way through 12:05 a.m. on Tuesday, September 7th, when the final show that begins at 11 o'clock p.m. on Monday, September 6th concludes. Chris, anything else before we let you go today? Anything else that would be interesting or important for our audience to know?
Yeah, just to double check, it's .org, not
yes.
.com. Yep, yes. And people can also get our app, Detroit Jazz Fest Live, at Google Play, and the App Store has all kinds of wonderful information. And for a $20 subscription fee, which also donates to the festival, you get a whole year of programming and behind-the-scenes videos and special performance videos that you won't see anywhere else. So that's Detroit Jazz Fest Live at the Google Play or App Store. Check it out.
Well, Chris, we appreciate it. Thank you for being with us today.